So what is Johego?
Johego is a nonprofit tech startup based out of St. Louis, Missouri that is dedicated to strengthening social service providers through big data and mobile technology.
It seems like social entrepreneurism is really taking off, and you're seeing this kind of combination of business and technology with a real focus on almost philanthropy to a degree. Why do you think that's happening?
Candidly, I'm not entirely sure, but at least in my own experience, my academic and professional background is in engineering, and social entrepreneurship sort of felt like a natural extension of that. Both disciplines seem to have a sort of mix of idealism and practicality, and basically solving problems with whatever tools you have at your disposal. And so for me, it seemed like a natural fit.
Now, with any kind of technology platform, obviously we all want to say it's the latest and greatest and the best thing that's ever developed, but talk about the differentiators for your technology and what makes it different from, say, other competitors or other tools that might be in the market.
Sure, definitely. And the good news is that the problem we're trying to solve, specifically every single year throughout the United States, tens of millions of dollars are wasted by nonprofits simply creating and maintaining directories of other nonprofits. And for every dollar that's spent in this fashion, that's one fewer dollar available for directly helping people in need. And the good news, so even though that's sort of bad news, the good news is that it's actually relatively easy from a technological perspective to solve this problem. And so basically what we're doing is using a combination of web scraping and carefully curated crowdsourcing to collect real-time, up-to-date, accurate information about nonprofits. And then we're providing that information in a smartphone application that makes it really easy to find whatever resources you or your clients are looking for.
So you're not a St. Louis guy at all. What brought you to St. Louis?
Yeah, so I've had the fortune to live in a lot of major cities throughout the U.S. and abroad, from Seattle to D.C. to Chicago to Darmstadt, Germany. And when I was selecting a location for Johego, I looked at things like cost of living, whether or not there's a very vibrant startup ecosystem, and very quickly St. Louis separated itself from the pack. Popular Mechanics last year ranked it as the #1 startup city in America. Charity Navigator simultaneously ranked St. Louis as one of the most philanthropic cities in America. So as a nonprofit tech startup, St. Louis seems like a hard place to be.
How did you end up also settling on officing out of CET and Cortex?
Yeah, so my first time in the Cortex area was at Venture Cafe, and I was blown away by the level of engagement in the community. I think there was something like 500 or 700 people at that event, and I thought that it was a sort of uncharacteristically high number, but it turns out week in, week out, that's the level of engagement. And despite the high volume of people involved, it also felt very accessible, approachable, and supportive of an endeavor that at the time was still in its early stages. So that sort of put Cortex on the map for me. And the more I learned about it, the more I learned about the tremendous opportunities available at CET and elsewhere. And for an early stage startup like mine, this facility, the programmatic support that sort of surrounds it, really makes it a no-brainer for me.
And what has been your initial impression just of the startup community and the innovation community overall across greater St. Louis since you moved here?
Really great, and I had the fortune in grad school and after grad school to live in the Silicon Valley area, and so that sets a pretty high bar for level of support, level of engagement, etc. And I think that St. Louis is extremely competitive with everything that I saw, not only in terms of access to funders, mentors, but also sort of building up peer groups, and I felt tremendous support ever since coming here.